Hello and welcome to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell from the Comer Library. I always enjoy on our show when we get to talk with someone who's very involved and making a difference in our community, and that's what we're doing today. I've asked Greg Atkinson to come join us today. Thank you, Greg, for being here.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Greg is our County Commissioner, District 5. He's also involved in Atkinson real estate and just a lot of other things. You've got a lot of things going on, don't you?
Keeps life interesting.
I think it does. Well, first of all, Greg, you're from Sylacauga. Tell us about your family and living here.
I was born here and went through Sylacauga High School, graduated, went to Auburn. My wife is Cindy Atkinson. She works at Mental Health. I have two daughters, Elizabeth Kate and Anna Claire.
Yes.
And they're both at Pinecrest. And, I enjoy living in a small town. I grew up, moved away for a while, lived in New Orleans, which was fun, but, I was happy to come home because it's a safer area to live, and also it's nice to go into shops and banks and people know who you are.
That's true.
And down in a large city, you're a stranger. And here you know people, and it's home. So that's always a good feeling to enjoy where you live and give back to the community, as you can.
Yes.
And I know with Atkinson Real Estate, it's a fun job because you're not always doing the same thing every day, and you meet a lot of interesting people, and you help people, and you also help businesses sometimes find a place called home.
Yes.
And we want people moving back to Sylacauga, and we want businesses and jobs moving to Sylacauga. And I think that's very important for the community because the more we have, the more amenities we can offer for our citizens. It helps our schools, it helps the churches, it helps everybody. The more people we have here that are participating in the community, and those that can help give back and work, whether it's in local government or our volunteer groups or church groups, I think it makes our community stronger.
It does, and you're very involved, I know. I have to tell you, I looked on the Atkinson Real Estate website, very user-friendly. It talks about you've been helping buyers and sellers for 50 years. Is the business right about 50 years old?
My uncle Earl Atkinson started the business, I think, around 1958.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure, 58, 59, something like that. And then my father and my mother bought it back in the 70s, and my mother has been the qualifying broker since then. And it's nice to work in a family business, and it's fun working with local people and introducing new people to the town and introducing new businesses to the town. And it's a fun job.
Good. We're glad you're here. And I have to tell you, it's our summer reading program. We're in the planning stages of that at the library, and y'all are one of our sponsors, and we appreciate that so much. You and your mom helping us out at the library. I know.
Glad to.
Your girls have been to the programs, and I think we've all enjoyed them a lot. So it's great. It's great. What kind of services do you offer at the real estate company? I know you. Homes and land?
Well, we're a full-service real estate company. I mean, typically we represent the sellers, but we can also represent buyers. And but we handle residential, of course. That's our strongest suit. We also have investment properties, commercial. We don't do appraising anymore, but we have an agent with us, Jerry Hicks, that does that, and we have other friends that do appraising as well. But basically, if people are looking for land for homes or for recreation or waterfront property or just a home to live in, or a business is looking at locating or expanding, we do all that.
I enjoyed the website a lot. It has links to schools. You can look at snapshots of homes, take little tours of homes, descriptions. It was very helpful if someone was moving into this area and didn't know anything. It tells your website can lead them to lots of different things to learn about the community also. Right. Yeah, and we appreciate what y'all do for our community and been here such a very long time, and that's great. That's great. You're also County Commissioner, District 5. Tell me what all that involves.
Well, the county commissioners, we basically are administrators. We oversee the budget for the county and make sure we stay within the budget and have a balanced budget and make sure our agencies and organizations are funded. But we also are hands-on where we try to help in the local area where our districts are and across the county, because there are 5 of us and we have a lot of different issues that come up from time to time where, right now we have an issue with the city of Lincoln where we've had some problems up there with expanded police jurisdiction. And two of our commissioners, Jackie Swinford and Tony Haynes, have been real active, and all the commissioners have participated, but they have kind of taken the lead on it. And they tried to work out a resolution with that, but they weren't able to, so we had to go towards a lawsuit.
Okay.
But we have a citizens group, CAL, which has been very active in protecting the citizens' rights.
Right.
And the problem has been with the expanded police jurisdiction, you have citizens that have been charged building permits and other taxes and fees that they were not aware they would be charged, because when they moved into the county, they were in the county and not in the police jurisdiction.
Okay.
And it's kind of an issue of taxation without representation. And it's an important one because it's not just Talladega County. This is something that could affect the whole state. Okay. And it also takes tax revenues away from the county, which we use for our roads and other services. So that's one issue we're facing. Like I said, I can't say a lot about it because there's a litigation pending.
Sure.
But that's something to watch and see how that comes out, because that's not just Talladega County, that's going to affect the whole state.
The whole state.
But there's other local issues that we're working on. I mean, we've had some issues with wild dogs and dogs roaming in the Mill Village,
Yes.
some in Center Point Acres and other unincorporated areas throughout the county. We've seen more of the issue here in District 5 because we have more highly populated areas that are not incorporated into the city that you have in other areas. And I've talked with the Sylacauga Police Department, and I've been talking with the mayor and some other council members, and we're looking at ways also in the county on how we can solve some of these problems, because it's not fair for a neighbor to go into their yard and have a dog barking at them or growling at them or almost biting them. But at the same time, the people that don't live in the city limits, they want the freedom to have pets, especially if you're on a farm or a large tract of land.
Sure.
The dogs typically roam. So you've got to find a way to balance those issues, and it's not an easy cure. You know, I know the city's working hard to try to find a solution to the animal pound here in Sylacauga.
Yes, Animal Rescue Foundation.
And Animal Rescue or Go Dog. I'm not sure who's going to be working with it, but we were fortunate to have some good volunteer groups that work also in this area. They're working through that, and we're looking to see what other counties have done also, and also looking to see what we can do to make a larger solution there. Okay. We have some money set aside to put back into Sylacauga for that, and that maybe that'll help too. But you know, really, it comes down to the whole county. It's the cities that need to enforce spaying, neutering, also the rabies shots, because we've been fortunate we haven't had any animals in the south end or dogs or anybody bitten. Now, there's been some raccoons in the north end, I think, that have been found to have rabies, but that's an issue also. But responsibility to the animals, if they can all be spayed and neutered and taken care of, we wouldn't have as many, roaming like we do.
True. That's right.
And, really it has to be enforced in the city and the county as well. The county is limited in our enforcement because we don't have zoning in the county.
Okay.
We cannot enforce zoning. It's just like our work crews, we can't go off of county property. If we're working on a road, we can take care of the road, but not something in somebody's yard.
Sure.
But that's a big issue, and I think if we could find a solution to the animal control for all of us, that would be great. But we're looking and researching that.
That's good. You don't want to jump into it until you know exactly what you want to do.
Well, it's hard because we can't pass laws, but we can make resolutions and request one to be passed to Montgomery through our representatives and our senators. Okay. But you don't want to pass a law unless you're sure what you're doing, because once it's on the books, it's hard to get off, and you don't know how they're going to enforce it.
Right.
So you've got to be very careful in your research, because you don't want to do something that's going to have some adverse effects that you're not aware of.
Right.
And people really like their freedom, and I think they should keep as much freedom as possible. Right. And if there's a way to do it without having to create a law, I think that's great, because we've got so many now.
Oh, yes.
But that is an issue we're looking at, and we've had so much rain lately. We've got more coming in now. A few weeks ago we had some, I think up to 9 inches in one day, I believe, in some areas.
I remember that day.
And unfortunately we had some roads and bridges wash out in the county in different areas. We were fortunate we didn't have a lot of major damage in District 5, but some other areas really got hit. And you know, we're always looking at what we can do to maintain the roads too. I mean, unfortunately our budget is not where we can just go pave everything, and we're limited to existing roads that that are designated county roads, but we try to maintain them. And we've got a really good road crew and a group that they do a good job with what they have. They really do.
Good. What is your area, District 5?
District 5 is most of Sylacauga. It goes across Highway 280 over to Sorrel Road, and the east, Sorrel Road and east is my district. Sorrel Road and west goes into District 4, that's Mally Limbaugh, and it covers, I guess, Fayetteville on up to Childersburg. And then I take basically all the southern end of Talladega County west, east from there over to the eastern side of the county. The western boundary would be Sorrel Road, and I go on up north to I think just above Walmart to Alabama Avenue, and then we come back off of 511 into the Mill Village, Walco area, and Sycamore, most of Sycamore, and a little bit of Winterboro is my district too. So it's it keeps life interesting because each area has different needs. I'm sure. And we try to make sure we can do as much as we can. I mean, you know, we have 511 going into you know, Coosa County also. I'd love to see that one repaved and restriped. And, you know, we're looking at seeing what we can do to get that in the budget, but we have to allocate the funds across all the roads in the county. And you know, the ones that are the most dangerous we take care of first, because safety is the #1 issue.
That's a lot of area, a lot of roads, and I know, like you said, money is, there's not just a lot of money, there's enough money, and I know y'all want to do a good job of balancing your budget and staying within your
We've been fortunate, and I'll say that the commissioners before I was elected, they have done a real good job of making sure the budget has been balanced and the county's on a firm financial footing.
Great.
And you know, 25 years ago, I don't think you could say that we had issues. But they worked to get that corrected. In the last, I guess, probably 10 or 15 years, we've been pretty strong. And you know, we work hard to make sure we stay within the budget, and we work with our department heads to try to get them, you know, what they need. And I think all your cities and all the counties and everybody wants more money or more revenue because you can do more with it. At the same time, you never want to raise a tax because we're taxed enough. And you know, our thought is the way to try to increase revenue for Talladega County is to work with your businesses and try to make it easier for them to have more tax revenue. If they can grow, it helps us grow. And I think we're very proactive in doing what we can to work with businesses. And I would like to say, if there's any businesses out there or anybody has any ideas that we can help businesses or the area, please give me a call, the county a call, and we'll work with you. I mean, we really want to move the county forward, and we'll work with the cities. And I think partnerships, you can do more working together than you can apart. So there may be some things that we can do together and get a lot more accomplished.
Well, that'd be great. I hope you'll get a call from some people. That would be great. We're going to take a quick break, go to commercial, so I hope you'll join us after the break.
In Central Alabama, 9,100 kids face going to bed hungry tonight. Hunger doesn't take a day off. There are kids right here, right now, that don't know where they'll get their next meal. Join Alabama Childhood Food Solutions and help put an end to childhood hunger in Central Alabama. Make a difference. Donate today, by mail or online, to help ACFS feed hungry kids. There's no better time to share than now. Their next meal could come from you.
Huddle up and huddle in to the newly renovated, family-friendly, smoke-free Huddle House. Stop by and enjoy our new updated look on Highway 280 in Sylacauga. We have the same great food, and as always, you can enjoy any meal anytime, from breakfast to lunch to dinner, or even a midnight snack. Add one of our signature waffles to your meal for that ultimate dining experience. Huddle up and huddle in. That's right, ladies. Freshly remodeled and smoke-free, any meal anytime. Highway 280 in Sylacauga, it's the Huddle House.
At Marble City Pharmacy, we're more than just a drugstore. Our gift shop boasts some of the most unique treasures you'll find anywhere. Come in and browse the vast selection of jewelry, purses, clothing accessories, and crafts. Let our friendly staff help you find that special card or gift for any occasion. Our dollar wall features selected sale items, and we stock a wide variety of specialty items. And if it is a drugstore you need, Marble City Pharmacy was named the 2015 McKesson National Pharmacy of the Year. Visit us today at Marble City Pharmacy.
Since 1935, the Collins family has been the automobile business in Sylacauga. Bobby and Anderson Collins carry on that tradition today at Stop and Shop Auto Sales. Select from late model cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our vehicles do not go on the lot until they are thoroughly inspected by our experienced mechanics. At Stop and Shop Auto Sales, we offer a 30-day warranty on all our inventory. Family owned and operated for 4 generations. Stop and Shop Auto Sales, 230 West 1st Street in Sylacauga.
Hello and welcome back to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell. I'm talking with Greg Atkinson from Atkinson Real Estate, and also he's our County Commissioner, District 5. We've talked about a lot of that, Greg. Now, I want to know a little bit more about you. You have a couple of hobbies, or geology and gemology are your hobbies, and I think that is very fascinating. Explain kind of what that is and how you do that.
Well, I guess it started when I was about 8 years old. I became fascinated with rocks, just in general.
Okay.
You know, and my grandmother took me to a craft show, and I saw a gentleman that was polishing geodes and rocks, and it just fascinated me. And my parents gave me a little cutting machine when I was 10. I learned how to polish gemstones and polish agates and that type of thing. And I've always been fascinated with, you know, the rock formations and crystals and minerals and that type of thing. And took some classes in college from that. I majored in international business, but I still took some classes with geology where I had some electives. And I read a lot about it, and I've always collected rocks and minerals. And actually, I worked for a company in New Orleans for about 3 years that imported stones, and that was kind of fun. I worked with jewelers and manufacturers, and got to travel a good bit. But I still cut rocks when I have time, and do some polishing. And you know, it's hard for me not to get on a piece of land and not look down and see what kind of rocks and minerals are there. And you know, sapphires and things like that are nice, but I like rocks that have natural formations, like the banded agates, or something that sometimes you can actually look like they have a picture in there, maybe a natural inclusion that might look like a tree or an animal or something like that. That's kind of unusual, but that's something that's fun, and I like doing that. And then I enjoy photography too, which I have to do some of that for work with houses, but I've always liked playing with that as well.
I bet your girls love that. Love to have their picture made, I think. My daughters would love that, I know, if I was involved in photography. Yeah. Well, now about the gemstones, what kind of stones, or what do we have in our area? But besides marble, we all know about marble. But we
don't have a lot in this area. I mean, you know, of course, marble's the big thing, and you got a vein of marble that runs from just south of Talladega down to the Coosa River and the Coosa River in Coosa County, about a 32-mile length of marble, which is beautiful white. There's some pink and some green. You have some white quartz in the area that's this pretty. But as far as actual gemstones, there's not a lot around here, because I mean, we're more of a sedimentary geological formation with some metamorphic rocks like the marble. You can find limestone here, deposits around the marble. You can actually find fossils. But as far as, and you can find some agates, there's not a lot here. This part of Alabama doesn't have a lot, although you do have traces of gold in most of the creeks and streams in Clay County, southern Talladega, and Coosa County, because there was actually gold mining, I think, in the 1840s around here.
Heard that, yes.
And so that's interesting. But a lot of it you have to find other places or buy from somebody else from the area or outside of the area.
And you said you've traveled the world, haven't you? Or some.
Not the full world, but I've traveled a good bit, and you know, I enjoy travel. I will say after 9/11, it's not as easy to travel, and to the airlines squeezing the seats smaller, it's not as fun. But I haven't traveled in the last probably 10 or 15 years too much. But before that, I did travel a good bit.
Was this with the geology or just business, a little?
We, the company I work for, we bought rough stones from all over, and we had a little cutting facility in Sri Lanka and Brazil, and I traveled a lot in the U.S. to gem shows and to meet with jewelers and manufacturers and sell. So I've seen most of the cities in the States, and I've enjoyed that. And there's some cities I really like, some I really don't. But I enjoyed Tucson, and I enjoy living here in Alabama because one thing that we have is a lot of green. You go to a lot of cities, it's just concrete and asphalt. Sylacauga, you got a lot of shrubs, and even Birmingham is pretty green. So, I mean, we're fortunate where we live that we have a mild climate. We don't have 2 feet of snow a year. You have to get there and shovel.
Thank goodness.
We do have the rain, and we do have the heat in the summer. But, I'd take the heat in the summer any day over 2 feet of snow in the winter.
Me too.
So, I think we're really blessed where we live. And, you look at the organizations in a town like this, we've got a museum here, our Arts Council, and a lot of active groups. We have the Marble Festival coming up soon, which is a major plus for Sylacauga, and it brings a lot of people into the town. So, I mean, I'm happy to live here, and I'm glad I do, and I think people need to realize how blessed they are because a lot of small towns don't have half of what we do. We've got a great school system. I want to give applause out to Dr. Todd Freeman because our superintendent is doing wonderful in our schools. He's brought art back to the schools, and we are really blessed here. And and you've got another good school in this area too, Comer. I mean, all the schools are doing well.
They are.
And we're just fortunate where we live to have great schools and great organizations.
We are. And I know I have to do a little plug. You and I are on the Arts Council board, so I'll have to do a little plug for our upcoming dinner theater, February 11th, 3 on a String. Should be a wonderful night. Those are always a lot of fun. They'll be here February 11th on a Thursday night. The dinner will be catered by Hickory Street Cafe. You can get your tickets from us, from the library or the chamber or Magnolias, and they're selling really well, so I hope you'll all join us. And that's always a fun night. And I know you've been involved with the Arts Council for several years, I think.
Well, probably 16, or I've been, I think, president twice of the Arts Council. So I've been there. They may want to get rid of me by now.
No.
It's been a long time. But when I moved back to Sylacauga from New Orleans, I think it's back in '92. I think 93 or 94, I got on the board of the Arts Council and wanted to give back. And we started Music Fest back then, and that brought a lot of people in. And the Arts Council always had programs, and they focused on a lot of programs with children and help them to get exposed to art and performing arts. That's kind of our focus
now with grants, yes.
And I think that's important because kids learn at a young age, and these impressions stay with them. So I think exposure to art is very important because I know the Congressional Art Competition has been hosted at the Comer Museum for a long time. And used to, I guess when it first started, you always saw the students from Auburn and Opelika winning just about all the competitions. And it wasn't because those students were smarter, more talented, or anything else. The reason they won is they had art instructors at an early age, sometimes even kindergarten, which we did not have the funding for or are focused on. And now we're getting more of that in our area, and I think it's good because whether a child goes into art as a career or anything else, the ability to draw and show and communicate is vital, especially in this world, whether you're in business or whatever you do. So I think it's a good thing to see kids exposed to art, all types.
I'm so glad we were talking about music is back in the school system at the high school and the middle school and all the schools here, and art teachers are here. Very involved with the kids. And you're involved with the Arts Council. You're also one of the board of directors of the Sylacauga City Schools Foundation. So you definitely do give back, Greg. You're very involved in a lot of things that will benefit your children and the rest of all the children in the city.
It doesn't just benefit you if you have children in the system, because if you live here, those kids, they're going to be your leaders. And you want them to be as bright as they can be. Yes. Because they're going to determine your quality of life. And we want the best we can have, and I think having kids learn and exposed as much as they can be exposed to will benefit them in this community. And it also helps us find workers for the other jobs that we have created in the community, whether they're technical jobs or whatever, and maybe even help us bring more industry in, because the more or the higher level of education and technical skills that individuals have, the more likely you can have a job base created.
Workers ready.
Workers ready, whether it's construction or computer or whatever. It's just good. And two, it ensures the kids of having a life where they can earn more. So it's good all around.
That is great. It goes with the college career community, have them ready for college with the arts scholarships or academic scholarships, careers. Some of them come out ready to start jobs, whatever, in jobs that are in our area. So that's great.
One thing that surprised me, or I guess it shouldn't have surprised me, but at the high school, I know you can actually get an associate degree now before you can get your high school diploma, which has changed from when I was there. And they have a lot of tech labs and video and just a lot more than what you would expect, which is good because it helps them have a broader base.
Right, and I think some of the kids from the county schools are coming here just because they have it at one place,
location.
one location. So that's helping everybody working together. That's wonderful. Now I know you also have been supportive of the community playhouse.
I think it's good. I mean, for years we've let them use a storage area above our office to help store some of their props and things. And I'm happy to see them back active again. We went to see the Adams family play back in October, and I will say it was well done. It was very professional. And if you ever get a chance to go see a Sylacauga Community Playhouse performance, go. It's wonderful. And I think they're going to be doing some workshops, I believe.
I think they're doing workshops for children or students about maybe going on right now, and then coming up in the spring they're doing Steel Magnolias. That's
going to be wonderful. I highly encourage somebody to help support the Community Playhouse. If you have some time, the price of the ticket's well worth it because you'll really enjoy it. It's very professionally done performance.
It is. I like that the people who work with it, and I guess I'm thinking from the student aspect, they're learning not only drama, how to act, but not everyone likes to act. Some of them want to do stage makeup or hair or stage design or the music or the choreography. So they're learning all the different aspects of what it takes to put on a production.
All those skills, and the more you can learn, the more well-rounded you are and the more versatile you can be. Whatever you decide to do. And you might just do it for fun. It's a good thing.
There's nothing wrong with doing it just for fun, too. That's great. Well, Greg, gosh, we've got about a minute or so left. You've been involved in so many things, the museum, the Arts Council, museum. We talked just a very little bit about that. You said you have been on the board at the museum?
It's been a long time. When my wife was president with the girls about 11 years ago, they're 10 now, I rolled off a lot of things. So I have a little friend. I was on the board, I guess, for about 14 years there, and I really enjoyed that. And I don't stay as active as I'd like to with that, but I would encourage people to support the museum because it's not every town that has something of that quality here. And they have a very active arts program where they have artists come in for receptions. They have natural history. They have a wonderful archive of photographs there and history. And if you haven't been to the museum, go check it out because it's really impressive what they have.
It is.
And I've enjoyed the time that I've been down there, and I highly encourage anybody else to go and visit and enjoy it.
Well, thank you so much, Greg. It's been I've enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about you and all the things you're involved in, and we thank you for making our community a better place. And thank you for joining us on Library Connection. We hope to see you at the library.